I cannot stress enough. Do not ignore evacuation orders. Remember, we can rebuild your home, you can get your possessions again, but you can't get your life back. Regardless of which coast you live on, be prepared to evacuate. This storm can change. Right now, the track is on the East Coast. It can change. Floridians on the West Coast cannot be complacent. Traffic. I know many of you are in traffic. I know it's frustrating, but please be patient. Real-time traffic information and evacuation routes are available at fl511.com. We're watching all that, and we're going to do everything we can to keep these roads open. We have traffic cameras on every major roadway in the state and are clearing traffic issues real time so we can keep people moving. FDOT and law enforcement are working diligently. We're already seeing bottlenecks at major highway junctions, which brings up an important point. You do not need to evacuate out of the state or hundreds of miles away to stay safe. Find shelters in your county. We are coordinated with Google's emergency response team to prepare to close roads in Google Maps in real time in the event that Hurricane Irma forces the closure of any roads in the aftermath of the storm. So you'll know if a road's closed. At my direction, all tolls have been waived across Florida roadways. This should help families evacuate quickly and safely. Again, if you're concerned that you do not have a way to evacuate, 1-800-955-5504. We will do all we can to get you out, but do not wait. National Guard. Today I'm activating another 3,000 National Guardsmen to help with shelter operations and evacuations. Today we will have more than 4,000 Florida National Guard members activated to immediately begin assisting with ongoing Hurricane Irma preparation. These men and women are putting themselves in harm's way to save the lives of their fellow Floridians. We can never thank them enough for all they do to keep us safe, both in their service to our nation abroad and in the response to emergencies like Hurricane Irma at home. Let's remember, they're helping us while many of their own families are planning on they're going to have to evacuate. After the storm hits, they work with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission on search and rescue operations. National Guard members will also be assisting utility companies following the storm as they respond to return power to homes and businesses. 13 helicopters and more than 1,000 tactical high water vehicles are on standby, ready to be deployed. By using resources from other states, we also have 30,000 troops, 4,000 trucks, 100 helicopters, and air evacuation crews ready to support our state. I talked to both President Trump and Vice President Pence yesterday, and they have offered the full resources of the federal government to support us. We've requested the following: tarps, water, baby food supplies, supply trucks, search and rescue personnel, and equipment and incident management teams. We've also submitted several requests to the U.S. Department of Defense for readiness and post-storm response. We've asked for military watercraft and aircraft with the capability to move fuel from the mainland to Keys at Marathon. Personnel, resources, and National Guard that were federalized to respond to Texas anybody that responded to Texas have now been demobilized to come to Florida to assist us if we need them. We've asked for a military vessel like a Marine or Navy ship to sustain shuttle operations and complete ship-to-shore missions. This vessel will allow us to move crews, supplies, and fuel to the mainland. I mentioned the major concerns with the Florida Keys regarding any potential destruction of bridges. They have over 50 bridges down there. If you lose one bridge, it isolates everybody south of there. If we lose a bridge, people are going to clearly be stranded. FEMA is looking at options to assist with the state with this. I've also discussed that with the White House. I've discussed the importance with FEMA about the need to help every hospital get up and running when the storm passes. The federal government has also pre-positioned medical support personnel and disaster medical assistance teams, and they're en route to Florida. These rapid response teams aid in the provision of medical care to those who need it after the storm. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is preparing search and rescue teams for potential deployment. FWC has more than 200 officers standing by for the first wave of response based on potential storm impacts. 30 teams with supporting resources such as trucks, coastal and river patrol boats, ATV, and shallow draft boats are preparing for evacuation support, search and rescue missions, or any additional needs. FWC was also coordinating with partners in states like Texas, Georgia, South Carolina, Missouri, Tennessee, Louisiana, and Arkansas in case additional officers or resources are needed. The Florida Highway Patrol is monitoring road and traffic conditions to ensure roadways are clear. Our roads remain clear, and there are no major problems so far on our roads. FDLE has established 18 emergency response teams for deployment to impacted areas and 7 logistics and planning teams. Utility providers, they're actively pre-positioning resources throughout the state and in neighboring states. We know from previous storms how incredibly important it is for power to be restored quickly. It's going to be very important to get this power back on quickly. FP&L has activated its emergency response plan and has thousands of workers preparing to respond to Irma. I know they're one of the largest providers in the state. They're also working with out-of-state utilities and electrical contracting companies to secure additional resources. They have opened more than 20 staging sites throughout the service area where restoration crews, trucks, and equipment are stationed. Lake Okeechobee. Water levels in Lake Okeechobee are still being lowered, and the lake is currently at 13.67 feet. But we still do, at this point, we do not have major concerns about the dike. We will immediately advise if any of that changes. Shelters. If you're evacuating for the Keys, you can shelter at Florida International University. There's absolutely no reason for anyone not to evacuate if you're ordered to do so. Shelters are available, and you should follow the directions of local officials to go to the shelter that fits your needs. If you need a hotel, go to expedia.com/Florida. Expedia is working on hotel occupancy in real time. The Florida restaurant and lodging industry has encouraged all hotels to waive pet policies, offer shelter, and be compassionate with cancellations. Families can go to floridadisaster.org/info to learn where shelters are in their area. Comcast. We're opening more than 137,000 free Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots throughout the state for individuals in need, including non-Comcast members. You can find these hotspots at xfinity.com/Wi-Fi. AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, they're all helping with hotspots. The state is stationing supplies such as meals, shelter support, trailers, and water at the State Logistics Resource Center in Central Florida for deployment as needed. And FEMA has resources in Alabama. We are pre-positioning these goods to help everyone in the storm's path. We need volunteers. We've had more than 6,800 volunteers sign up in 24 hours. So thank you for that. This includes more than 1,000 state employees. This is great. We need more. We need a total of 17,000 volunteers statewide. You can go to volunteerflorida.org to sign up for volunteer opportunities. Or you can call 1-800-FL-HELP-1. 1-800-FL-HELP-1. We need more volunteers. They make a big difference in emergencies and help with shelters, food distribution, and response efforts. State offices in Miami-Dade, Monroe, Broward, Lee, Glades, Hendry, Okeechobee, Martin, Charlotte, and St. Lucie are closed today until further notice. Every Florida family must prepare to evacuate regardless of the coast you live on, regardless of which coast you're on. We are 100% focused on making sure Floridians and visitors have timely information on this storm, and we will continue to closely monitor Hurricane Irma and issue updates throughout the next few days. Cada familia tiene que tomar este huracán en serio. Tiene que tener un plan, 3 días de agua, alimentos y las medicinas que necesiten.
Governor Rick Scott now speaking in Spanish from the Emergency Management Center in the city of Hialeah. He's maintaining the same message that we've heard from him over the last few days, that you need to be prepared, you need to be ready to evacuate should that order come down. He spoke about the people in the Keys, if they're evacuating from the Keys, to head on over to the shelter at FIU. He says there is no reason to not evacuate if you can do so. He's taking questions now, so let's listen back in.
Every day. The Corps right now, Colonel Kirk is in Tallahassee along with General Holland that is out of Atlanta. They've done inspections. It's at 13.68, which is good right now. We can take a lot more water right now. The big risk they have there, of course, is if you get too much water. And it looks like, so far, something can change. This storm is moving fast, which means we will not get the same sort of rain that Texas got. Now, that can all change, but that's the biggest risk on the dike at Okeechobee is too much rain. That's why they're lowering levels. We're doing the same thing with the canals through the South Florida Water Management District. So we're trying to make sure, to the extent that we get a lot of rain, and the issue with Miami-Dade is not just the rain, it's the storm surge. The canals are going to be as low as we can get them. So if something changes, we're going to tell you. But we're at 13.68, and we can take a lot more right now.
At what point does it crash?
Well, it's gotten to 18.67 or something without anything happening. They constantly do inspections. They'll even do more detailed inspections when it hits 17 feet. But at 13.68 feet, they can take a lot of water right now. So the biggest risk would be if for whatever reason it just sat here and dumped rain. That's their concern. Their concern is not the wind right now.
Can you talk about Turkey Point and your discussion with folks at FPL with respect to that facility?
Yep. So Turkey Point will, of course, be closed at the right point. I've been talking to FPL. They're all prepared to do it. We're preparing both to close it and how to reopen it. The big issue on reopening it is we've got to have the evacuation zone completely clear. So we've worked a plan with the National Guard and with FDOT to make sure that when it's ready to close. First off, that's FPL, but it's also going to be ready to reopen. Let's remember, we've got to survive this storm, and then we got to get back. So if we close a hospital, I went through this back in Andrew, it's work to get them reopened. So we're ready. We're going to prepare. We're going to try to keep everybody safe. We're going to recover everybody, and then we're going to get everybody back to work as quickly as we can. And we're thinking about all of them.
When you say a closure at Turkey Point, does that mean you can expect a power outage?
No, they'll have enough power. And just think about it. The usage is going down as people are leaving. I was talking to FPL about that, and they're comfortable that they will have enough power. Now, the issue, as you know, the issue is going to be down power lines. A typical storm, we're going to have down power lines, we're going to have debris, we're going to have to deal with all those things. But that's why we've got all these crews coming in. I've talked to all the utilities. They all are bringing crews in all across the state. And now with Gulf Power, it not appearing it's going to hit the western part of the Panhandle, they can provide more crews to us also.